Today's section is titled Went to See the Atlantic Ocean. When we were in Boston, at a place not far from where we stayed, we could clearly see the Atlantic Ocean. One day, His Holiness went to the ocean. Seeing the great waves of the Atlantic and listening to the local people's descriptions, he was in a very good mood. Actually, while in Boston, His Holiness and Lama Mumtso were both quite ill, but at that point, they were starting to feel a bit better. On the rocks by the sea there were many oysters that looked just like stones. I heard that people by the coast love to eat them. This includes people in mainland China. Those living by the sea eat them frequently. Someone took one to show His Holiness. It was the first time any of us had seen the life inside this rock. They said it was moving slightly, which we found very surprising. His Holiness remarked on how inconceivable a being's karma is, and then he specifically blessed these rocks. They look like stones that don't move at all, but perhaps you have seen this in the video. Gyatral Rinpoche was holding a whole bunch of them in his hands, and His Holiness said, "How frightening! Are they really alive?" You see, His Holiness brought them up here. Perhaps people by the sea, including some monastics who left Tibetan areas, might have eaten them before. Like those monks who go to India, often they aren't extremely strict when it comes to eating meat. Even some Khenpos we know well regarding this. Of course, it's not about ordering a live kill, but various kinds of meat from already dead animals, including some types of meat we find quite frightening in Tibetan areas, they would eat. Growing up by the sea, perhaps that's just how it is. Both His Holiness and other great masters appear to be very fond of the sea. It is quite true that when we come to the sea, all our discursive thoughts seem to be taken away by the waves and dissolve into the boundless ocean. What remains is the Immaculate Dharmadhatu. Great masters likely don't have afflictions to go and relieve at the seaside. But no matter who it is, we sometimes see, including many people by the sea in Hainan, even those who seem to be in great pain when they get to the ocean, they appear to be very happy. They may not necessarily have realized the state of the Dharmadhatu, but for many, their immediate distress seems to vanish. In 1990, I accompanied His Holiness to see the Indian Ocean. This was mentioned in Recollection of the Time Gone By. In 1993, I accompanied him to the US and saw the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific was seen earlier while at Nechung Monastery in Hawaii. This time, it was the Atlantic. Later, when we were in Singapore, we also visited the seaside. It is called the Marine Parade Coast. There were a few photos from then. I'm not sure if they were shown. This is a photo by the sea in Singapore. At that time, everyone was holding. It looks like an advertisement for Sprite. Let me see. I have written about the events of that day in the book mentioned below. There isn't time to read it to you all here. His Holiness said here, on the full moon of the Kaitra month, Vikrama Iron Dragon year, the compassionate Buddha at the age of 81, at the great stupa of Sri Dhanyakataka in southern India, taught the Kalachakra and the reciting the names of Manjushri and other Vajrayana tantras. The audience consisted of humans, non-humans, gods, yakshas, and many other types of beings. Among them, the foremost disciple was the king of Shambhala, the Dharmaraja Suchandra. His Holiness is very professional when teaching any dharma. Sometimes it can be a bit challenging for us to keep up, because regarding the Kalachakra and the Shambhala teachings, some details might not be very well known to us. When I was compiling this article last year, I consulted many dharma texts related to the Kalachakra. The more I researched, the more I realized how profoundly His Holiness has mastered this lineage. I even asked some other experts for their input. The Jonang tradition specializes in the Kalachakra, so I consulted some of their Khenpos who are specialists in this field. After I finished the compilation and showed it to them, they were amazed and found nothing to correct. It is truly inconceivable. As for Suchandra, the king of Shambhala I just mentioned, Dawa Sangpo, Suchandra compiled the Kalachakra teachings into a textual form of 12,000 verses. During the reigns of Suchandra, his son, and his grandson, spanning 7 generations of Dharmarajas, they all upheld this Dharma through study and practice. In fact, regarding the Kalachakra teachings, after the Buddha first spoke them, Suchandra and the others brought them to Shambhala. They did not spread in India at first, but were later translated back. That is the history of it. During this period, Shambhala was like India, though some terms in the text might vary slightly. The version I am discussing now is from the final edition of A Journey to the West. Last year we completed a portion first, but upon further proofreading we made a few specific corrections. The version we released later is the more accurate one. They were divided into Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras, the various castes. There was a tradition where lower castes could not hear the Dharma, only noble castes had access to it. During the reigns of these Dharmarajas, among the 4 castes in Shambhala, only the Vajra caste could receive these teachings. As for the other 3 castes, it was generally believed they could not receive them, therefore they were not called Kalkin or holder of the castes, the Kalkin Kings, the holders of the castes. After the reigns of the 7 Dharmarajas, the Kalkin King Manjushri Yashas appeared. He is a very important figure in later history. In fact, after receiving the Kalachakra empowerment, it is vital to understand the Kalachakra lineage. This is very important. Mipham Rinpoche's great commentary explains some of these principles. He said that for those who uphold and protect the Dharma, caste identity is not the most important thing. Rather, noble qualities are what matter most. This is true throughout all of the Buddha's teachings. One must uphold the essence of the Dharma. So he merged all 4 castes to be tamed into a single Vajra caste and granted them the empowerment. Because of this, he became known as the Kalkin King. That is the story of the Kalkin King of Shambhala. As the Kalachakra Tantra states, 4 castes are in fact the one. The Kalkin caste is not necessarily Brahmins. His enlightened activities continue to protect Shambhala today. In that environment, there is no discrimination of caste. Anyone is entitled to study and practice this Dharma. The first of the Kalkin Kings was called Manjushri Yashas. He was the first among the Kalkin Kings. As there are 25 generations, he took all the Kalachakra teachings from the 7 preceding Dharmarajas and practiced them in this way. He recompiled and explained them, writing the abridged Kalachakra Tantra in 5 chapters. When we cite scriptural authority, we also use this text. Compared to his 7 ancestors, his enlightened activity was even more sublime. History indeed confirms this. Following him, his royal heir, the Kalkin King Pundarika, ascended the throne. What did he compose? The commentary, Stainless Light. It is a commentary on the Kalachakra, explaining his father's abridged Kalachakra Tantra. Before this, practitioners in Shambhala relied on only 2 texts, the root Kalachakra Tantra and the abridged Kalachakra Tantra. This root Tantra was the one from the time of the 7 preceding Dharmarajas. The abridged Kalachakra Tantra refers to the Tantra compiled by the first Kalkin King, Manjushri Yashas, in 5 chapters. The difference between the 2 is as follows. In succession, each Kalkin King rules the kingdom for 100 years from the time of their coronation. This doesn't count their entire lifespan, only the period from their ascension, after which the royal heir succeeds them. Among them, there are 2 exceptions. One is named Samudravijaya and the other is Aja. These 2 are quite unique. Their reigns were unlike the others. They ruled the kingdom for 403 years in total. All the other kings ruled for exactly 100 years. These patterns and rules of succession are indeed quite different from our worldly expectations. However, they are very specific and well documented. This is not just some folklore or a history that was intentionally fabricated. It is not like that. These are fixed and detailed accounts. The years mentioned here do not refer to their lifespan, but to the duration of their reign. Regarding their longevity, before they ascend the throne they have already lived in this world for many years, and after the heir succeeds them they continue to live for many more years. The 100 years mentioned is just the time spent in power. In our world, holding power for that long would probably be quite a challenge. The present Kalkin King who is in power is the 21st. His name is Aniruddha. This is the current ruler. His Holiness said this year is the 67th year of his reign. If it was the 67th year in 1993, then it should be the 98th year now. The 98th year, right? My math isn't great, but it seems about right. Well, anyone who can add 67 and 31 can see how the numbers add up. That was just a bit of self-deprecating humor. I can actually calculate it. Then following him, his son will be the 22nd Kalkin King, named Narasimha. After he rules for 100 years, his son will be the 23rd Kalkin King, Maheshwara. Following his reign, the 24th will be Anantavijaya. The last royal heir and Kalkin King will be Rudra Chakrin. Rudra Chakrin is mentioned in many of our sutras and within our Tibetan calendar as well. When will Rudra Chakrin appear? I think I mentioned before in 300 or 400 years. In however many years it's marked in every one of our calendars. At that time, Mipham Rinpoche was said to be a general, as was His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok. When Rudra Chakrin appears, he will also be a general. The main activity of the 25th Kalkin King will be at a time when beings of Jambudvipa and other continents are suffering from all kinds of distress. Appearing in a wrathful way, he will help all beings regain peace and happiness. He will not only subjugate the cruel and vulgar barbarians who harm sentient beings, but he will also rule over Apparagodanya, Uttarakuru, and Purvavideha. Since ascending the throne, he will propagate the authentic Dharma and the Kalachakra teachings in particular. By then, whether from a worldly or a spiritual aspect, his vast activities will surpass those of the 7 Dharma Rajas and the other 24 Kalkin Kings. They were great, but as His Holiness continued to explain this, I consulted many accounts regarding the Kalachakra and the lives of the 25 Kalkin Kings. In the end, it is true. These essential pith instructions have already been taught. Those who uphold and protect his activities will enable his lineage to thrive for thousands of years. His heirs will be his sons, Brahma and Sureshwara. It seems in a previous talk one was called Power. The names might be slightly different. Let's follow the later version. The sons are Brahma and Sureshwara. These two will continue to carry out their father's vast activities. That was a brief introduction to the lives and activities of the kings of Shambhala. All right, we will stop here for now.
Kirgana jirano chupai chupun zolen droa droa bandangara badna asadorda bandangara badna asadorda bandangara badna asadorda